Right, so our worst nightmares becoming true because there are actually prototypes of new iPad Pros with a notch on the front. Why? Why is this happening? Let's dive into it. But first, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. And with that being said, let's just tuck in. So yes, we now have two different sources telling us that Apple's testing iPads with notches. So the latest tidbits from a Korean source, they believe Apple has working prototypes of an iPad Pro that has a notch. Now 9to5Mac did mention this in a previous report, and they said Apple's doing this because they want to unify their range, and of course with the MacBooks getting notches, Apple's now giving the iPads the same treatment. And guys, I'm sorry, but a notch on a bloody tablet is way worse. Because of course, do remember with a MacBook, it's going to be in one orientation at all times, but that's not the case with the iPad. With an iPad, you can use it portrait or landscape, and so if they put the notch in landscape, it's going to be intrusive when using the iPad in portrait. And yes, I know that many of us use our iPhones in landscape as well, but let's be honest, I think a lot of us use our iPhones way more in portrait than landscape, whereas with the iPads, I would say it's a pretty even split. But that's not my main point, guys. The main point is of course the fact Apple has nailed the bezel situation with the iPads. You see, I do understand why the iPhone has a notch. Obviously, Apple can't put the Face ID components anywhere else. They're limited by space because it's a very tiny product, and so of course, the notch does serve a purpose. As for the MacBook Pros, I know that Apple mainly gave us the notch for brand recognition, but the main thing to note is that it is an improvement over the previous design. But of course with the iPad, a notch would be a downgrade over the current design. And yes, I know some of you guys might say the bezels on the iPad Pro are a little thick, and so having a notch could mean that Apple could shrink the bezels. However, do remember the bezels do serve a purpose on the iPad. You need to be able to place your finger somewhere when using it, and so having slightly thicker bezels is actually very much appreciated. And so yes, I just don't see the point in Apple giving us a notch on the iPad Pros. I think there are only two justifications. Obviously the first one is brand recognition, since the iPad has a pretty plain design and looks like pretty much every other tablet on the market. However, as a rebuttal to that, I do want to say the iPad is the clear market leader when it comes to tablets, and so unlike the other products, they do not need brand recognition as such, since the iPad's the best-selling tablet. But the second reasoning I could see Apple giving us is, of course, they want to make this iPad look somewhat different to previous models. You see, unlike the other products, the iPad has peaked when it comes to the design. Apple really can't do anything else on the front, and so I'm sure that's going to slow down sales, since every iPad from now on is pretty much going to look the same. And with Apple refusing to give us actual software upgrades with the iPad, maybe they are desperate to make this iPad look different, and so yes, we do see a notch on the front. Now there is a silver lining to this. Obviously these notched iPads are very early prototypes, and so the chances of seeing a notch on the M2 iPad Pros are very low. And so yes, I'm praying that Apple does not give us a notch on any future iPads. Anyways guys, tell me in the comments below, do you see a notch coming to a future iPad? Anyways, thank you for watching guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video in the card above on details regarding Apple's VR headset. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya peeps.